Hey, y'all. So, those of you who have known me for a little while know that I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. Um, my parents and my both of my grandmothers were one also. So, I'm like a third generation in. Um, Cousins, uncles, aunts, everybody. So, anyway. I'm saying that to say that I saw a lot growing up. And I've had a couple people ask me to make a video about my experience as growing up as one and how I ended up defecting in my 20s. Um, so, one thing that I do know about them, and I know this for a fact, a lot of people don't know, but I'm really glad that somehow they have come under the radar for the fact that they harbor and they protect pedophiles and rapists. And it didn't happen to me, but it did happen to childhood friends of mine, um, two of my cousins, and they never got any justice. They were blamed, and that's what these people do. So anyway, like I said, I'm glad that people have, they've come under the radar and people are going after them. So here we have in this article, and I'm going to talk more about what's going on with this. I'm going to have this be a focus for, obviously personal reasons on my channel going forward. So we have here 5 members of Jehovah's Witness congregation across Pennsylvania charged with the sexual abuse of children. Jehovah's Witnesses hate children. They say they love children, but they hate children. These arrests follow charges against 4 other members of Jehovah's Witness congregations in October 2022. 4 other. Okay. So this is Pennsylvania Furnace, Pennsylvania. 5 members of Jehovah's Witness congregations across Pennsylvania are facing sexual abuse of children charges, Acting Attorney General Michelle Henry announced on Tuesday. 2 of the accused are from Lancaster County, Henry said. Through an investigation, officials say that the men sexually abused and exploited minors with whom they had close contact, and in some cases, members of their own family. Each of those charged and their victims were members of Jehovah's Witness congregations across the state, authorities said. These arrests follow charges against 4 other members of the Jehovah's Witness congregations in October 2022. The defendants are being prosecuted by the Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General for the following offenses, and these are the men right here. So we'll start with Mark Brown, 65, of Allegheny County, is alleged to have sexually abused 2 young sisters who were between the ages of 10 and 13, and for whom he was the legal guardian. Brown has been charged with aggravated indecent assault, endangering the welfare of children, and corruption of minors. Raymond Schultz, 74, of Beaver County, is alleged to have sexually abused his granddaughters when they were between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. Schultz has been charged with aggravated indecent assault, endangering the welfare of children, and corruption of minors. None of this surprises me. What is that? Abimel Valentin Matos, 42, of Lancaster County, is alleged to have sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl who he was supposedly courting to eventually marry, even though he was twice her age. That also is a thing with them. And I'm just going to have to really talk about the type of stuff that goes on within that cult. So these type of stories will make sense to you. Matos has been charged with indecent assault, indecent exposure, endangering the welfare of children, and corruption of minors. Kevin Isovich, 51, of Butler County, is alleged to have sexually assaulted his niece, who was 9 years old. Isovich has been charged with rape, aggravated indecent assault, endangering the welfare of children, and corruption of minors. Norman Aviles Garriga, 44, of Lancaster County, is alleged to have molested at least 3 young children between the ages of 5 and 10. Aviles was an elder in his congregation, which helped him gain the trust of many parents and afforded him access to their children. Aviles has been charged with aggravated indecent assault, endangering the welfare of children, and corruption of minors. So let me just go back to this real quick about Mr. Matos, who was courting a 15-year-old girl. So the Jehovah's Witnesses believe, and it's in their literature, that it is better to be married than to be, I guess, I can't think of the words that they use, but let's just use a common word, and that's horny. So, like I said, this doesn't surprise me because they will go after young girls when they hit puberty. And her parents probably, felt like, it's okay. It's better for her to be married than, they call it like inflamed with lust or passion or something like that, Anyway, let's continue. Okay. Brown, Schultz, Matos, and Isovich have all been arrested, while Aviles is still at large. The details of these crimes are sad, disturbing facts, which are made even more abhorrent because the defendants use their faith communities or their own families to gain access to victims. Well, yeah. Said Acting Attorney General Michelle Henry via press release, "Our office will never stop working to seek justice for those who have been victimized, and we will continue to investigate and prosecute anyone who harms the most vulnerable in our society." Jehovah's Witnesses have an internal disciplinary system for complaints of child sexual abuse. It remains unclear whether they investigated these allegations, but the Attorney General's office said the charges stems from victims coming forward. I'm so glad. Woo. Victim advocacy group Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, aka SNAP, said the organization itself needed to be held accountable. It does. Officials within the faith knew of this abuse and did nothing. To me, that's complicit. And being complicit in crimes like these, is sometimes as equal as the crime itself, said SNAP Communications Manager Mike McDonald. Henry declined to comment on future charges, citing the ongoing investigation. Jehovah's Witness Lancaster East congregation could not be reached for comment. They'll never speak. They have a legal department that they run everything through. It's very controlled. The Jehovah's Witnesses National Organization wrote in a statement, "As Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses despise the mistreatment and abuse of anyone, especially precious children. While it is not appropriate to comment on cases pending before the courts, we want to express our concern for all victims of abuse regardless of faith." Bullshit. Jehovah's Witnesses have previously released a document stating their position on child protection. Court documents show Aviles Garriga remains at large, while Valentin Matos is currently awaiting trial in Lancaster County Prison. So let's hear if anyone with information regarding child sexual abuse can make a report to, we don't need to read all that. Anyway, so let's go back to this right here. Officials within the faith that knew of this abuse and did nothing. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Matter of fact, you know what? I bet I know for a fact how this went. One of the children told their parents or parent, they took it to the elders. It has been beat into witnesses to run everything through their elders. in their congregations. Now, what is interesting and really actually tragic is that the witnesses have what they call a 2-witness rule when it comes to abuse claims, is that if the abuse that the child suffered is not witnessed by 2 other witnesses in good standing, then it is as if it didn't happen. So who molests a child who nobody that, of course, it's not going to even be witnessed by one other person. So that's their reason. And they cite some bullshit scripture to support it. And that's how they have been getting away with it for so long. So, and what they tell parents not to go to the police because they are bringing reproach against Jehovah. That is what they do. They don't want the police involved because they want to be seen as this wholesome group of people who are happy, and they're not. The witnesses are not happy. They just put on a front. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to, oh, wait a minute. We got a little video. Let's watch this video. Sorry, y'all.
The acting attorney general of Pennsylvania announced child sexual abuse charges against 5 Pennsylvania men, 2 in Lancaster County, all members of Jehovah's Witnesses. Fox 43's Harry Lee reports on the repercussions for the organization.
Disturbing and sad.
Those are the words Acting Attorney General Michelle Henry used to describe alleged child sexual abuse committed by 5 Pennsylvania men. All are members of the Jehovah's Witness religion.
Some of these defendants even used their faith communities to prey upon the victims.
2 of the men charged were members of this Jehovah's Witness congregation in Lancaster. 44-year-old Norman Avila Escariga is alleged to have molested at least 3 young children between the ages of 5 and 10 in the late 1990s.
He was an elder in the Jehovah Witness congregation, which allowed him to build a rapport with members.
42-year-old Abimel Valentin Matos is alleged to have assaulted a 15-year-old girl around 2011.
The congregation was aware of his romantic interest in the girl, noting that they would approve of it if certain conditions were met, including the presence of a chaperone and the commitment to eventually marry her.
Jehovah's Witnesses have an internal disciplinary system for complaints of child sexual abuse. It's unclear if they investigated these allegations, but the Attorney General's office says all charges stemmed from victims coming forward. Victim advocacy group SNAP says the organization itself needs to be held accountable.
Officials within the faith that knew of this abuse did nothing. To me, that's complicit. And being complicit in crimes like these is sometimes as equal to the crime itself.
Henry declined to comment on future charges, citing the ongoing investigation. Jehovah's Witnesses said in a statement, as Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses despise the mistreatment and abuse of anyone, especially precious children. While it is not appropriate to comment on cases pending before the courts, we want to express our concern for all victims of abuse, regardless of faith. Harry Lee, Fox 43 News.
Yeah, well, that's that. Like I said, I'm going to be watching what's going on with these charges more carefully since they are now on the radar. And eventually I will talk about my experiences and the things that I saw. I tried a couple times, but, I think about my father, who was a good father, and he was an elder. So I didn't have that experience. I'm grateful that him and my mother protected my sister and me from things like that, because I know he had to know. Anyway, so I'll talk more about this topic soon.